How's it going? We're going to be running through a quick beginner-friendly build for Vanessa. That's going to accompany a guide that I should have out in the coming days. So if you are new to the Bazaar, this is your first time playing, you're trying to get your first rank tickets, see if you can follow along and try to make this build happen for yourself. So first choice, a lot of aquatic items are smaller, so we want to go for the smaller items here. And you can see we've already got 3 of them, which is really good. Seashell, Elucere, and the ambergris. So these are going to be really good for our early sustain, and then we just have a revolver for fun. We're also going to try to look for some of our smaller items, put away. We shouldn't be re-rolling for 4 gold here, so we're just going to skip and move on. We are going to take, it doesn't really matter, the inglet is going to give us a little bit of money, or 5% crit chance on our weapons, which doesn't really matter. We are not too worried, and we are just going to win every single fight we have here because of how good our items are early on. This is a bit of a forcing move that I'm making. You know, not often, you're not going to get aquatic items every single time, especially with your starting kit, but we got a little bit lucky that we have 2 pretty good ones already. So something that we can do almost always with aquatics, because we have friends, we can go to the furry creature and get a free XP, which helps us in the long run. So I'm going to go for the non-weapon items just to show you, wow, this is really good. So normally I'd be taking the crow's nest here and just going 1 weapon and starting with the revolver, and probably taking powder horn as well and selling some of this. But we are gonna just snag the clamora and roll and see what we can find. Wow. So I'm gonna just hard sell out of revolver, even though it's really good. You know what? It's probably better if we keep it around. Now, in terms of coral versus seaweed, the more aquatic items you have, the better value seaweed is going to be. I like coral, but ambergris does kind of the same thing. It's healing based on the number of aquatic items you are buying. So this gets a flat 3 heal, and this gets currently double your value, so it gets every 4. So it's just an objectively better item that sells for more. I'm going to take this seaweed. We've got 1 more shop, but we don't have any money, so we should think about an upgrade to one of our items, and that's going to be the seaweed.
You say old.
And now we're going to fight.
This will inspire the crew.
So, I think instead of the Elucere, we're just going to focus on healing as much as we can. We will worry about slowing them down a little bit later. In fact, I think we could even go as far as taking out the revolver, but I don't see any harm to leaving it in, except for the fact, you know what, I think we'll do this so we can increase the value of our seaweed. These are all minute choices that shouldn't really matter to you that much. You can just put in all of your aquatic items and go from there. You can see we already increased the value of healing by 10 heal because we used the clamor really early on. We basically just have to outlive the poison, which should not be a problem. We will stack healing or the shielding much faster than they can apply damage with their trebuchet, especially with our clamora slowing them down. We're just waiting it out here. We're doing fine. And we should win this, no problem.
Defeat does not defeat me.
Very nice. That's our first win. And one of the benefits of using a poison-based build is that you have a pretty strong early game. Sustain is generally easier to accumulate than damage. Now I'm going to go for some experience. I do have a friend, and it is the Illusoray. So this is only something you can do if you have a friend. Just something to keep in mind. We'll go extra shielding. When we're talking about skills, just anything that gives us some sustain is great. I am looking for a pufferfish now. So medium items are appealing. I just don't have a whole lot of money. I can sell this for 10 gold, which is another advantage of the ambergris. I feel like a silver item is a little bit safer. So I will take a look at that. And that's okay. Nothing crazy. For a fight next, we really like to take the rogue scrapper if we can. I'm slotting in some damage to kind of get through their shields. But we really want this skill if we can get it. But they also have some good items for us. The med kit would be great on one of our healing items. The scrap would be good on our seashell. An extra shield item for right now is fine. And then the repair bot also acts like the med kit. So good options all around, but again, I'm really looking for this skill that you can't really get otherwise, just because it's so powerful. And this should not be a problem based on the amount that we are healing and shielding. If you look at how much the seaweed is healing, it's a remarkable amount. 220. Just has a little bit of a slower cooldown, so that's something we have to think about. We got the worst option, but no big deal. We're gonna look for our first haste item, see what we can get. And it's a beach ball. That's actually really perfect for our build. Let's do this. We're gonna go to the mushroom and we're gonna get a skill. No, that's the wrong thing. Sorry. We'll just take the gold. I thought it was a different item we had. So normally I almost always take gold and a loot item, but if we can get 6 gold, I think that's really valuable. So we're gonna take the 6 gold. And now it's time for our fight. Let's slot in all of the things that we can, and honestly I think we'll just sell these because we're not planning on having weapons anyway.
Go ahead. Underestimate me.
So I'm not too worried about it. You can see that we're not really caring about where we put our items right now. We have 1 shielding item and that matters for this. And we also have the Illusoray, but we have no friends. No other friends. So we're really not worried about anything in terms of positioning right now. We should just be able to kill him pretty quickly. Actually, this revolver is doing quite a bit of damage because it's got a 25% crit chance, thanks to our extra skill. So we really don't even have to wait out the storm, we just have to do damage. What we got there? So we haven't really found pufferfish or any of the fishes that do poison damage yet, but I have a feeling we'll find them soon. One of the most important parts of this is just being patient and waiting for the right objects to come into play. So we're going to buy this star chart. The star chart is just an always valuable item that you should kind of pick up if you can. And it looks like we're going to upgrade our seashell. Note that I'm passing again on the coral because they already have the seaweed and the ambergris. And non-weapon items are going to be our bread and butter here. We are looking for our poison enablers. We didn't find it, but we found a clamora, and I think that's an easy upgrade for us just for fun. We're pretty far away from our next level up, which should unlock our full board, so we don't have to worry about it just yet. In terms of fighting monsters, when you have this much sustain, you should always just kind of fight the biggest one. There's nothing that we're really looking for here, but it gives us the most XP and gold that we can use later when we're looking around in our shops. So try to keep that in mind when you are picking something to fight. And unfortunately, this boss has a little bit more health. So we're going to have to rely on our sustain. There's actually a chance that we're going to get overrun here. But I think we will be okay. It seems like they are running out of gas. I think with one more shield, should be good to go. Yes, just enough. But we should be careful. Scaling builds are gonna give us a problem unless we can do something to actually kill them before a thing. So this is not gonna give us our poison items, and neither is this. The only chance really is this and trying to take a fight. It's something that we've already beaten before, but it actually gives us another chance at the rust skill that we were looking to get in the first fight. Remember, we got this junkyard club, which I'm very much hoping we don't get. Truly, there are some good things that we can take here, and we kind of got lucky with the road grabber on this fight. So just have to wait it out. We're gonna do a lot of shielding. You can see that the seashell is now shielding almost double. Number one, because it's shielding 20 instead of 10. And number two, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 aquatic items, including itself. And then lastly, because we put that additional skill on it for another 20 shield. You can see how important sustain is to the build. We're at the point where we don't even need damage from our poison to sustain some of this. I'm gonna upgrade this bronze tier item. Don't want to go back to a B1, B2, and this is a pretty critical part of our build. It's our haste engine. So we are looking to not go there. I would rather go here. So the pufferfish is available as a medium item. Also, rowboat is something that we could consider, but we're gonna pass it for now. I want to really focus. Well, it looks like we've just got another beach ball upgrade. So now instead of one aquatic item getting hasted at bronze, we're hasting 3 now at gold. So you can start to see the multiplicative value of some of these items. And looks like we're fighting a pig. What we're going to do is we're going to throw down the star chart. We're going to use the med kit. And this is just reducing cooldowns. I would throw in the bolas, but I don't really have an interest. And I think we're just going to try to reduce the cooldown of the beach ball, and probably not the revolver, probably one of these other things. The highest value is probably going to be the seaweed.
My fight isn't with you, but if you insist.
So at this point in the run, we might struggle a little bit for not finding a poison item yet, but that's okay. We have plenty of time to do it. They have a scaling engine here with the Ganjo and the Lumbors, but and double damage brass knuckles, but I think we're okay. We really just need to continue to slow them down and accumulate shield to the point where we will win and be fine. And that's pretty much the name of the game if you have poison or not. So this just allows us to have more items that sustain rather than our actual core damage component. So just a little bit more. It looks like we will be winning this fight. They just didn't scale fast enough. Although a little bit longer, and they might have. So we're moving right along, 3 wins. We're going to continue to look through items. This is a generic item seller. Water wheel is also something that we could consider here. I think we have enough of a haste engine that I'm not going to go for this. And I'm going to keep looking for damage. Now, this is an interesting item to consider. Since we don't have poison in our build yet, I'm going to work on slotting this in. and I think it's going to be really valuable for us in the long run. So we want to just reduce the cooldown as much as possible. We're getting shield out of it, so it's actually it's a nice valuable option. And I'm just taking out our slows so we can focus on accelerating and putting out damage as much as possible. This will probably change when I get some kind of poison item. And here we're looking for a way to get a poison item, and medium items are that way. So we're gonna look again. We still don't see it. That's no problem. We're just gonna leave. I know it seems frustrating, but the best thing that you can be doing is going to shops. Because shops are what's gonna give you the pieces that you need for your build. So this is actually going to get close, unfortunately. I think we're probably going to lose. Yeah, unfortunately killed all of our items and I didn't realize. That's a bummer. Not the end of the world for sure, but I should have just left those out, actually, and it would have been better to just... Anyway. Health, toughness, and shield items are great. We can find some upgrades, possibly. I'm going to hold on to this pearl as well, and I'm not going to keep going because we want to save some gold. Here we're going to look for... both of these options are great. I do plan on going poison, so this is really good. But slow is just such an easy thing to slot in. Both are good. I'm going to go for the... slow, because that's something we can take advantage of right away. We're going to slot out the ambergris, and we're going to put in a clamera. And that's going to instantly trigger a freeze for us, which is fantastic. We can work at the docks here and get some extra money. The reason why I took Star Chart, apart from the cooldown reduction, is you get this extra option when you work in the docks for 5 gold and 1 XP. And we're going to take a fight here, and... remember, we've got a freeze to start, a slow to start, and we've got some accumulating damage with our submarine. So we'll see if we can hold off our opponent and build our shield up enough to out-sustain him. Now, the reason I talked earlier in this build about including a crow's nest versus not. Crow's nest is really good for a single weapon build, which is what our opponent is running. They have a rifle that can just fire over and over again because it's its only weapon, and it gets lifesteal from the crow's nest. So you can see we're doing damage, but he's just healing it right back up. It's not a problem though. We are accumulating so much shield that we are going to outscale him. And there we go. So that's going to be our 4th win. That's our first breakpoint. In ranked mode, that would matter a lot more than unranked mode. Here, we're trying to chase 10 wins as best as we can, and this build is a means to an end to accomplish that. But 4 wins is still a very impressive accomplishment. It might take you more than a few tries to get to 10 wins, so don't feel too discouraged. You just got to keep going. We're going to look in the silver tier items. Now, a shark ray is a really valuable item, and I think it's better. It's a better option than this submarine. So what we're going to do is we're going to swap out here. We're going to put in the shark ray. You'll find this on one of my example builds. And then we're going to upgrade the coral or the seaweed. As a rule of thumb, if you see an upgrade for an item on your board, you should absolutely take it. Now, in terms of taking things that haste, this is our only haste engine, so it's really, we don't really have to worry about any kind of positioning. Something that I will do now is swap out the clamera for the elusive ray. Now that we have a friend, and we're planning on getting another one, this will trigger twice. It has a multicast. If we get a third friend, it would trigger 3 times. So it's really good. Honestly, It does seem like the Clamor is better just because it's triggering at the beginning, so I'm going to keep that in for now. And we are going to just slot in the ambergris. The pearl is nice, but it's not really useful at this moment. We're going to save it for later, and we're going to take a fight if we can. We cannot, but that's okay. We've got some free money, and we've got another fight anyway. So Gorgonoble is a valuable fight here. She has poison items on her own. She has poison skills. There's that paralytic poison that we talked about earlier. And then this petrifying gaze item is really fantastic as well. Just a full freeze on the board for a second. So try to keep that in mind. It's really valuable. But I want to highlight the shark right here because every time the beach ball is triggering, the shark ray is getting 60 damage. 60 damage because it's 3 items that are getting hasted. And every time an individual item gets hasted, it gets 20 damage. You can see the damage going up and up and up and up and up. And with the sustain that we have, it's very easy for us to scale this shark ray. That's why I listed it as an alternative to our main poison condition or even a supplement. That's a great item for us, or a great skill for us to have. It's not super valuable right now, but once we get our first poison item, it will be much better. We got a silver star chart. I have a bronze one. I'm going to sell the bronze one and just take the silver one. We're going to look in our gold tier section again for the items that matter, and there's our pufferfish. So now our build is going to be online, and we even have the dock lines. So there's some things that we want to do. This is the point where if you've been saving some items, you can get rid of them. In fact, I think I can sell the ambergris here. It's been really good, but I want to get both of these items in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to slot the pufferfish. I'm going to take out the shark ray. We're going to put in the dock lines. And we're going to throw in, I think we'll throw in, we have a lot of slowing. I'm going to throw in the pearl. So we could also alternatively do this and keep the shark ray in. This does seem very good. We'll try it like this. So we have a lot more damage now, and this poison is going to trigger again, over and over and over again. Back at the docks, we still have our star chart. It does not need to be out on our board, which is really great for us. So now all we have to do is take another fight and rely on our scaling, damage, and healing and shielding to take down this dually, who seems to be doing a weapon Langzhong build. So if we can hopefully start our hasting, get the party going, slow down some of his items. One of the challenges here is kind of balancing the damage that you're throwing out. That was a little close for comfort, to be perfectly honest. It's great that we killed him fast enough that this combined damage was working out, but we want to be cognizant about going one way versus the other, and so to that end, I'm probably going to take out the shark ray at some point, and find a way to just get a little more haste going from a jellyfish or the like. We could take XP one more time, and I think we will. It's just really, really good, especially for Vanessa. And to that end, I'm going to go for a poison item. This is an event that always comes through. So something we can use to our advantage. Now, most of our important our items are gold tier already. And so I'm not going to bother upgrading a silver or lower. I'm going to go for the skills. And here we can look for something that would help us. Nothing here helps us. We're going to roll. Hasting aquatic items is really good. Now I don't have a vehicle, and it's important to consider the alternatives. We can charge all of our items 2 seconds, which is really good. to just continue doing damage. Wow, both of these are great skills. I think hasting is just what we want to do. So to emphasize that, I'm going to take the hasting skill. We can take any of these fights. These two do poison damage, so I'm going to take the one that gives us more XP. You'll see this trigger immediately, so something will get hasted. Right now it's the seaweed. But as soon as the beach ball will trigger, again, it's going to make this go faster. So we're doing damage, we're poisoning, we're slowing down their items. You can see in the red here, that's all the times the opponent's items are slowed and for how long. And up top, you can see the amount that it's being hasted for and for how long. So our engine is coming online. We're doing a lot of damage. We haven't lost yet. That's a poison item that I am not really considering, so I'm just going to throw it away. You can see that I'm trying to take as many fights as I can. That mountain pass fight is our best option for doing so. And you can see that I'm trying to go to as many shops as I can. Because even though we might not find what we're looking for, it is still really valuable to go to shops. And if you do find what you're looking for, it's a tremendous improvement. So back again, we could always look at something like this where we're swapping out our shark ray for slowing items and slowing as much as possible. We could also add in the star chart and do something like that and reduce cooldowns. We also have we also have poison and freeze, so this is ×3 multicast. But that's not really good enough for what this tool is on a 6 second. So I think our best option is we're going to keep the Clamora in, and we're going to include this Pearl. And hopefully this will just give us a little bit of extra sustain against this Vanessa player. Players, you should expect to do more damage than mods. Sorry, I have a baby on me. You should expect them to do more damage, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing a piranha swarm with a bear claws, so we were right to swap in as much as we can. I'm gonna go put this baby down, and then I will come back in a minute and we will finish.
Like my crew says at the bar, another round!
Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. But we did win the fight. We are 6 wins in 6 days, so we're just going to keep going. So small and large items is great for us. Pretty much anything besides weapons gives us a chance. And here's a great piece of the puzzle, the jellyfish. So we're going to try and we're just going to sell some of our medium items that we're no longer using. I'm going to throw away the shark ray, and we're going to go for this jellyfish. We also have the catfish, which is something to consider, but I think with the build that we're going for, the jellyfish is more suited than the catfish for applying poison. So we're going to pass on the catfish and let it go. Here we've got a chance for all kinds of skills. Crit and burn are not what we're going for, so we're just going to go for poison or gold tier skills. So +4 poison is pretty decent. It's actually going to be +8 because of the jellyfish is around 2. So I think let's just take that. It's a very straightforward piece of the puzzle. We can get 5 more gold, but we are actually rolling in the dough now. So now I want to focus on going towards Curio. There are some cooldown reduction items that would be excellent for us, as well as just enabling crit chance, max health, any sort of thing here will be like really helpful for us. So we're gonna buy 1 regen, sure, 3 shield, 20 max health. We don't have any weapons, so we're gonna pass on that. And crit chance, and more max health. So unfortunately no cooldown reduction here, but I think it's fine enough of an investment that we can just throw these things down. Now I want to stress putting scrap on a thing that will benefit from it more. So the pearl will execute faster than the seashell because of its ability. It charges every time we use an aquatic item. So theoretically, this triggers a lot, right? And so to that end, we want to put something like a jellyfish next to it. We want to put shielding effects on it more often because it will trigger more, which is great for us. We also want to put things that rely on it triggering next to it. So what I'm actually going to do is something like this. So the pufferfish is going to trigger a lot. The pearl is going to trigger a lot for a similar reason, and then the jellyfish is going to use, and then it's going to get haste, which is then going to charge the pufferfish more. And you're starting to see the engine here, where all of these things are working together in harmony to effectively make themselves work, if that makes sense. We're gonna try the Radiant Corsair. This is a really hard fight. I don't recommend fighting the Corsair, but I think we are strong enough with our poison build now that we should be able to take it down. And you can start to see these things work together. So the beach ball is hasting things, the rapid execution of items is charging the pearl, and it's also hasting and charging the pufferfish, and you can see the haste accumulating on the jellyfish, which is then charging the pufferfish more. And you can see the poison that is starting to apply here. And we are just ever so surely healing, shielding, relying on our items for sustain, and winning the fight. And so that was a big one for us. I could take another fight. I don't really feel the need to. I think getting more aquatic items will benefit us more. Oh, I never sold the blue nanas. We're gonna sell some things that don't matter to us, and we're gonna get a loot item. And loot items are great because they could be anything. In this case, it's a med kit. It's great for us. A shield scrap is great for us. Poison extract is great for us. Cooldown reduction, so great. I think at this point we can either take the small medium shop and look for some upgrades here, or we can just take a Finn's Big Bite. And Finn's is very useful for increasing shielding and healing. You can see our heal items get 20 heal, but I think our shield items getting 10 shield is really great for our pearl, and we want to think about that. So last minute, always look at your build before you go into a player fight, just because you want to maximize your chances. There is a chance of us slotting in the Elusive Ray and getting a ×3 multicast. I think Dooley is the kind of character that you want to focus on slowing a lot, so I would consider something like this. The dock lines are really good. You know, it's hard to pass up. But we could do something like this, where we have the Clamora and then we throw in the Pearl just for extra slowing. This does the same kind of thing as the dock lines, but slower. However, we have the Clamora as well, so it's just it's roughly equivalent, with better slot flexibility. This is not something that you should really think about. Just put in the dock lines. I'm trying to show off the Illusoray synergy. Don't think about it too much.
My fight isn't with
This
you.
basically lets me get good slowing in and good shielding in without compromising one or the other. So it looks like they have a similar hasting engine that's based on this race coral. So that works in a very similar way to the pufferfish, where when it hastes, it charges, and his build is centered around a lot of things triggering on each other. So he got the petrifying gaze skill, and you can see how valuable that was. We really got stunned for a second, but ultimately our poison was just a little bit too much for him to handle, and we win the fight. That's our 7th win. We've reached our 2nd checkpoint. We're only 3 more wins away. Obviously, this is not going to happen every time where you are undefeated after 7 days. We happen to get pretty lucky. So don't worry about it if you're losing fights. There are advantages to dropping all the way down to lethal. You get an enchantment on your items, which is really excellent.
That'll get you moving.
We have a lot of gold, so we're gonna take this reroll. Just to see what happens. A turbo hasting rod or a turbo fishing rod is not great for us. Dagger, same issue. We have enough haste, I think, at this point where we're not too worried about accumulating more. Monster skills. This is a great event if you could find it. Poisoning 9 is decent. Shielding for our max health is also really good, and plus 10 regen for each non-weapon item you have is also excellent because we have 8. So 80 is really good for 10 gold. I think I'm going to take that one. If we do enough poison, then I'm not really interested in this. You would think we would be, but it's a bit of a pass for me. This is actually probably correct against burst damage. I like both of these. I'm not going to worry about it too much. 80 regen is like something that you almost never get, so we're just going to take the highest XP that we can, which is this. We're getting close to level 10, which is another key enchantment for us. Enchantments are the most powerful things in the game, so we should try to maximize them as much as possible. But we'll talk a little bit more about it when we see what enchantment we get. I forgot that he has the Sunderer, but it should not matter. Our seaweed should heal us through all of the damage, and yeah, we've got him. So nothing is valuable here. I will take the highest value thing for 8 gold. Thank you. And so here's our level up. So this is an excellent slow effect. I really do like slow, and I would put the slow on something that triggers the most. And so what's going to trigger the most? It's either going to be the pearl or it's going to be the pufferfish. I think rule of thumb, you can put almost anything on your pufferfish, so we're going to do that. I do think the pearl would be the better choice, but it's really a non-issue at this point in the game. Slow is just a generally good enchantment, so you shouldn't think about it too much. We're going to do the same thing with our shield items. We actually only have a bronze pearl, but it's the timing and the effect that matters the most here. An Illusoray level up is fantastic for us. We're going to roll past that, and we're going to look for some other options. A captain's wheel would be really good, but we don't have a vehicle or a large item, so typically beach ball is just kind of enough on its own. Now that we have the extra slow, I don't think we'll end up using dock lines at this point ever, but that's fine. The Clamora is almost... It's like very close to not being relevant, but it still is. It definitely still is. So you should think about that. And also something that I have really should be considering is I forgot about this rightmost rear shielding. I want to have the pearl get that shielding since it would be more valuable than the seashell in the long run. But that's okay for right now. This looks like it's primarily a battle of the poisons. He is speccing in a little bit of the proboscis, which is slowing and dealing damage. We are just more basically full on to poison, and it seems like our build is doing a little bit better.
Next time, boys, less blunder, more plunder.
It's great for us. We got another win. And we're at 8 wins. We have 2 more to go. Cooldown items are fantastic for us. I'm actually gonna buy this tropical island. This is a bit annoying to deal with from an inventory perspective, but it is very valuable, as you will see. And we don't want any more of this, although holsters would be excellent. Holsters would be excellent if you can if you have the spot for it, if that makes sense. So like, I think I would slot out like the Clamora, but you're basically hasting all of your small items at the beginning of the match. I'm gonna pass on it. That's something that you can think about and consider, but we're really not doing too much different than what we had. Like, our build is pretty set, so we don't have to worry about doing too much. We're gonna take the highest XP fight that we can. Pretty straightforward. Just keep fighting the big baddies and rely on your good build to see you through. Notice that I moved the seashell all the way over to the left, just kind of out of the way. I just want the pearl to get the most, that extra 20 shielding, and it will make a big difference since it triggers so much more. And it looks like we'll win this no problem. Thankfully, the slowing that we're doing is providing enough. And we get a little 12 crit chance to boot. That's actually the best thing that we could have gotten. Crit and burn are, again, not really what we're doing, so we'll go to the Vanessa specific skills. The first time you crit freeze, we're not really critting. I don't really want crit chance. Let's re-roll this. It looks like now we can haste 2 aquatic items. We also have the opportunity of getting +6 shield for each aquatic item. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 48 shield on each of the pearl and the seashell. That is actually probably better, but I will take the oceanic rush just to show that we are trying to haste as much as possible. We have a lot of gold tier items, so we're going to take the gold thing. We're kind of blowing through our money at this point, but that's fine. We're really just interested in maximizing our build as is. Hero merchants don't sell the items that we want, so let's avoid that if possible and just take some experience. Experience is always great for us. It enables new things, it gives us money, and you can see that the tropical island has generated some things for us to sell. So coconuts give max health, and the other thing that I don't remember, citrus, gives regeneration. We want both of those things for better sustain, and just to stay alive as much as we can. So now we get to haste 2 items. You'll see these 2 were selected. It's totally random. Obviously you want the beach ball to get selected, but you never know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, we were getting frozen there, which is really slowing down our build. It looks like this Isochord freezer is like targeting our beach ball seemingly. This is a close fight. I think we will lose. We lost by a hair, which is really unfortunate. But that was a good build. Freeze is a real pain in the butt to contend with, and just unfortunate. That's okay. We move on. We just continue to try and upgrade our items as best as we can. We're looking for things that are on our board and really not much else. Weapons are not what we need, so we will take this temporary boost. We'll gain 10% of our max health for the rest of the day, which is really nice. And we'll take a gold tier loot item. Next, we're taking a fight. I would caution you to stay away from this fight. The Trash Titan is a poison-based build. Just be careful of those fiery red fights. I just have a feeling that it's not going to end well, so you really shouldn't go anywhere near it. And that's that. This small item is something to note. It is a haste engine on its own, so theoretically you can put this next to something that triggers fast. That will then haste something else that should also might trigger very fast. Something to think about. We got a very big item. Oh, and we got an excellent feather. This is one of those cooldown reduction items, so you can see everything just triggers a little bit faster. This used to be 4 seconds. Now it's 3.8. Small items are great for us. We have a bunch of small items. But, sometimes they're just not the ones that we want, and that's okay. And non-weapon items are also really great for us because we don't have weapons. But, again, sometimes it's not meant to be, and that's okay. I'm going to sell this because it's in the way. We want to make sure we're generating those coconuts and citrus.
Being fully present with me? We're out to dethrone a king.
So, we are 2 wins away from our ranked ticket. Our build is starting to slow down a little bit, but I think we will be okay. We're going to try our best. This is a pretty common build that we're facing. It is a 1-weapon crow's nest build. We talked about that before, and thankfully we have a lot of slow and healing to hopefully stop that thing from firing a second time. You can see that it's like perma-slowed, and we are healing our butts off as best as we can, and shielding and healing and shielding, and hopefully it dies, and it did. So we just made it out alive, but our sustain is kind of starting to fall off. We're over relying on our slows to kind of stop that from happening. It is what it is. This is a beginner build. It's never going to be. It's not meant to be a meta build, and that's kind of the point. This is supposed to be easy for you to implement on your own. You can see we're really not thinking too much about positioning. This is more just about finding items that will help us out, that are not weapons, and going from there. So I think it's good to upgrade an item here. I think something that would be very valuable here is this beach ball, because it's going to go from hasting 3 things to hasting 4 things. You always want to upgrade your haste engine whenever you can. I would avoid any fights that destroy your items, and I actually would avoid this guy too. We're going to take this Master Alchemist. These fights get scarier as they go on, obviously. So we're trying to do our best to stay alive, continue to get XP, and continue to get health and build ourselves up so that we can get this last win. Not much to say here, because they're not doing anything to really hurt us. We are just accumulating so much poison now that they are starting to fall off. And you can see that we're getting about twice as much poison as we did before. And that's just based on the fact that we're hasting an extra item. It does that much. We are going to buy some small and large items. And maybe one day we will get an upgrade. But it's not today. We got one. Great. That little bit of extra shield is going to matter a lot in this last fight. I hope it does. I think fighting a monster would actually be really good for us. Hopefully it's one that we can fight, and it is. This is a brutal skill to go up against, I'm not gonna lie. All of our items are slowed, and he is doing a lot of damage. and he's charging this so much that he's just killing us. There is a chance that we just beat him because he has low health, and we did, thank goodness. But that was really scary. So I don't want this. This is something that's really important. You should not take skills that are bad for you because it says any non-weapon item. So I don't want that. But we got the XP at least. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough to get to the next level, but that should be okay. So we're up against this guy. He's got 5 wins. He's on lethal now. This is something to worry about going up against a pig. It looks like they're just poisoning, but they have a lot of healing. They have a lot of healing. So we'll see if our poison damage can break through theirs. We don't have nearly as much healing as we do. But we are poisoning way faster. So this could be our 10 wins. It could not be. We're accumulating shield just fine. We're just struggling to get through the amount of health that they're healing. Our slow is doing really well. Our poison's still accumulating. It's looking decent. We just need to keep going. Need to keep forcing that slow, and it's gonna be close. It's gonna be really close. And we did it. That's fantastic. We got that last heal at the end, and it saved us from the seaweed. So that's the run. We got 10 wins. Pretty open and shut. You can do this too with a poison build. I think the point of this was to show that these are very easy items to slot in, and once you've got your build, you should stick with it and keep trying to refine it as much as possible. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. We're going to take this ranked ticket into ranked mode and try and win some chests. Good luck and welcome to the Bazaar.